I thought I just put it on. So then it came. I didn't know you were going.
I will introduce you Dr. Pervin Dadachanji, who has graciously accepted our invitation. Dr. Pervin Dadachanji is a practicing psychiatrist who will elaborate on the subject in depth. She has been in private practice since the past 25 years. She conducts workshops for various parent groups, schools, and corporations in Mumbai. She has written a book called Recipes for Parenting and is consultant psychiatrist at BY, a child development center, and at NHSRCC Children's Hospital in Mumbai. We shall keep question answers at the end of the session. Friends, I present to you the speaker of the day, Dr. Pervin Dadachanji, with a great applause. Can you,
thank you.
Pavanji, can you put Pervin?
Yeah.
Thank you, Pervin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here, everyone. And I'm going to keep my presentation short. I'm going to just do a presentation. So I'm sharing the screen. If you can't see the slides moving, please tell me, okay? Because sometimes this happens. And also, can I request everyone to be on mute, please?
Oh, sure.
Because that makes it just, or maybe the host can just mute everyone.
Yes, the host can mute everybody.
Yeah, but don't mute me, please.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am just going to see my presentation. Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, just one second.
Yes.
I'm going
Stress
to
during the pandemic.
Yeah, but I just want to get the slideshow going. I am.
Okay.
Sorry, I think there is something. Okay, can you see it on the full screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very clear.
Okay, fine. So we are going to talk about stress during the pandemic. And I think we all have gone through it in some form or the other, right? We've been.
Doctor, please unmute yourself. Doctor, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry, I think or maybe I did it or somebody did it, whatever. Okay, so we're going to talk about how stress has affected all of us in short, and then what are the things that we can do. So I think this pandemic has caused a lot of issues with all of us, whether it's a child, whether it's an elderly person, whether it's a middle-aged. I think everybody has been really badly affected by this pandemic. So what are the challenges? Can you see the next slide? The challenges slide, has it come on?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay, because I just needed to do that. Now it'll all flow. So the challenges which are faced by most of us, and especially by the older adults, is not only fear of getting COVID, but also about getting other diseases, because everyone worries that supposing I get a heart attack, supposing I break a leg, how will I go to hospital? What will the whole situation be? Nobody will be able to come and visit me. That gives us anxiety. Then also the anxiety of financial stress, because I think things have become difficult. So people's interest rates have gone down, everything is more expensive. So that causes stress. Social isolation, a lot of older adults are living on their own, or even if they are living with people, their children are not allowing them to go out of the house, and that also causes a sense of isolation. Then also what we normally do is we overconsume alarming news. I think we are probably settled a bit now, but in the beginning, how we were only interested in how many cases, how many deaths, how many people are better, that also causes a lot of anxiety. And also in the older adults is the technology issues. I am sure a lot of you would be hoping that, oh God, I hope my phone doesn't conk in this time, or my laptop doesn't give way, because how am I going to call someone? My daughter is going to say, no, you can't call anyone in the house to look at your Wi-Fi. So these are all things which stress people out. So what is stress? Stress is your body's way of responding to any demand. So it can be positive also, because a little stress is very good for us to do something well. So like for a child who is not bothered about exams, she will never, she will not perform as well as someone who is a little stressed. So that is positive stress. Negative stress is all the things which we talked about, which cause a lot of effects. So what does it cause? So why do we have to be careful about not stressing ourselves so much, not worrying so much? Because so when you have any of these symptoms, it can be because of stress. You know, fatigue occurs. Sometimes you cannot concentrate. Of course, there are many reasons for it, everything. So if you have memory loss, you don't only put it to stress. It could be other reasons also. But often when you are more stressed, you tend to forget. Your immunity is low, so it takes you longer to get over illness. It causes you to get more disease, especially diseases like cardiac issues and all are more likely when you are stressed. You get snappy, moody, consumption of alcohol, other over-the-counter drugs occurs. Even aches and pains sometimes are because we are stressed. Weight loss, anxiety, depression, I mean, dementia can also be added to this whole list. So what are we going to do now? How do you handle stress? This is what is going to be the major thing that I'm going to talk about. So now there are many things that we have to look at. So one of the things is categorizing your thoughts. So, you know, there are these spheres of resilience. So we have an inner sphere and we have an outer sphere. So inner sphere are the things that we can control, and outer sphere is what we cannot control. So what can we control? We can control how much we read about what's happening in the pandemic time. We can control our watching of television. We can be careful of our hygiene, washing our hands, maintaining social distances. These are things which are in our control and we can do something about. What you cannot control, you cannot control the virus. You don't know how it's spreading, what is happening. None of us are really the wiser with this. We cannot control government policies. They can change every moment, things are changing. So what is important here is that what you cannot control, you let go, which is what we don't do. Oh my God, when will the lockdown be lifted? Will there be another lockdown? Will the trains start? Will the maids come? Now, this is really not in our hands. So we need to let it be. What is in our hands, we can handle. So when I was talking about control, what you cannot control, you let go. If you feel that, no, I cannot let go, then assign yourself what is called worry time. And I cannot tell you how beautiful worry time is. I used to earlier, in all these years, I have used it mainly for young people. So little young kids, I would tell them that, okay, you know, you're worrying so much, have a worry time. So what is worry time? Worry time is a time of the day when you decide that this is going to be the time that I worry about everything. So for example, if you decide that 6 o'clock to 6:30 in the evening is going to be my worry time. So in the daytime, if you get a thought that, you know, what if I get COVID, my neighbor downstairs has it, suppose I get it. So you, instead of going round and thinking about it, you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to think about it in my worry time. Again, you get another thought, push it into your worry time. Sometimes in a minute, you may have to push this thought 10 times, but still do it, it works. And how can you be doing it easily is by distracting yourself with something else. Okay, instead of worrying about whether I'll get COVID because my neighbor has got, I can say, let me watch this funny serial on TV. Then what happens? Your worry time comes at 5 o'clock, or I mean at 6 o'clock. At that time, put in all those things that you're worried about. One of my friends, she uses this where she has added the news. So instead of reading the news every morning and getting psyched every day, what she does is she keeps that worry time even to read about what the COVID situation in the world or what is happening, etc. at that time. After you finish with your 6 to 6:30 worry, you put that little box away, and the next time your worry time again the next day is when you use it. So what happens then is that you're postponing your worry. You're not thinking about it so much. So instead of having a 24/7 day when you're worrying, you only have that half an hour in a day. If you feel if you're very anxious and you feel half an hour is not enough, then keep in the morning and in the evening, but only at that time. Then reframing our thoughts, you know, this is a really very important thing, that we often feel that an event leads us to feel a particular way. That because we have this pandemic, I mean, let me give you that same example. Neighbor has got COVID. You had visited the neighbor a few days back, so you are worrying about it. So you feel that because the neighbor had COVID, you are getting anxious. You are not getting anxious because the neighbor had COVID. You are getting anxious because you are thinking anxiously. So there will be two people who will have faced this situation where the neighbor has had COVID. One person will be leading her life beautifully, and the other person, he will be feeling extremely anxious. Why? Because the people are thinking differently. So the person who doesn't care a damn is thinking, okay, George, if it is going to happen to me, it'll happen. I'll deal with it at that time. So that's her thinking process. But the other person, he is anxious. Why? Because he's saying, oh my God, I'll get COVID. I have nobody to look after me. What will happen to me? I'll have to stay in the hospital alone. So we all need to reframe our thoughts. And what is the so I'll give you another example. This was, you know, when COVID, when things started. So I remember thinking that, you know, I could think that, oh God, this lockdown means I'm going to be stuck at home. I can't go out. I can't do anything. And that would make me feel dejected, depressed, worried, anxious. Or I could think that, okay, I have got this chance to do so many things which I've dreamt of doing. I've been thinking of writing another book. I've been thinking of painting. I've been thinking of spending time with my children. So the minute I reframe my thoughts, my feelings change. So this is a little, I just have put this up. This is a think model which you use. That is your thought thinking process true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring you to do something positive? Is it necessary? Is it kind to you? Now, this is not only for the COVID situation or the pandemic or stress. This is in regular thought processes. You know, when you feel like, supposing after this session, I'm not able to answer all your questions, and I get off Zoom and I say, oh God, it was just horrible. This was the most awful session which I had. I couldn't help even one person there. So then I look at this model and I say, is it really true? I was able to help one person. Is it helpful to me to think in this way? No, because the other sessions which I have had have been successful. Is this inspiring me to do something about it? No, I'm just sitting there and feeling terrible about myself. Is it necessary? No. And am I being kind to me? No. So this also, if you just change your way of thinking, you will change your way of feeling. I mean, I always tell everyone, change the language of your thoughts. If you change your language, you will feel far, far more in control of things. The next thing is routines. Nothing can be as important as routines. I'm sure all of you who have gone through this lockdown successfully have had routines. Why is routine important? Because it normalizes things. You feel that this is the way you start a day. Like I had a friend's daughter who from day one, even though she was not going to work, she would do exactly what she had to do every day. She used to go to the gym in the morning. Now she couldn't go to the gym, but she would wake up at that 6:30 in the morning, do her gym routine at home, get into her clothes. My friend said that she also wore her shoes and everything. And she did her, so she followed her routine, which really helps. And that's why clothing is very important. If you sit around in your nightie for a long period of time, that whole, it just sort of takes away your being in control of the situation. The other thing is decision fatigue. What is decision fatigue? Decision fatigue is where you need to plan what you're going to do tomorrow, because otherwise when you wake up in the morning and you decide what you're going to do, you may spend an hour just saying, okay, should I do this or should I do that? Should I do that? Should I do this first or should I do this later? So to be able to plan your routine in advance also helps. And what is really important here about routines is, because these are what we call low activity, right? It is activity which is routine. So there has been a lot of studying which has been done where they have shown that two things, lack of social connectedness and low activity, are the two fundamental factors which maintain low energy, low mood, and they cause stress. So having a routine is also important. Now, handling emotions, using the think model, which we talked about, because I told you about the feelings which are not because of the event, but because of how we think. If you're feeling lonely, reach out to others. Don't just keep it within and feel sorry for yourself, because you can do something. And here there's another mantra which I have. If you have a problem, there is always a solution. You just have to spend a little time to find it. If you have too many people in the house and you're going crazy, maybe you can take a little me time, spend a little time away. If there is conflict between you and another family member, and conflicts will occur a lot if there are many people sharing the same space, maybe addressing it, talking about it, but talking about it when everyone is calm, not when people's emotions are heightened. Also, what has happened during COVID is this fantasy versus reality, where the fantasy is that, oh, we are all going to be at home. We're going to all be a family together. We'll have all our meals together. Our grandchildren will sit with us and spend time with us, etc., etc. That's fantasy. Reality is grandchildren will come and spend 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there with you, but they are not going to be spending all their time. So to be able to balance that is also important, because high expectations, great amount of disappointment, and therefore feeling low and stressed. This is one of the most important things all the time, but in this situation more so, because we are socially so away from each other physically. So we have to maintain that social connectedness. There was a beautiful study done some years ago at Harvard University, where they found that the single most important factor for a good quality of life and longevity was social connectedness. So that is something which we need to continuously do, whether it's doing activities as a family. So in my family, what we used to do is, because we were all sort of scattered, husband somewhere, son's girlfriend somewhere, we somewhere. So what we used to do is every week we would decide one person would talk about any topic that was exciting to them. So if I wanted to talk about the Palestine crisis, or someone wanted to talk about Michelle Obama, or someone wanted to discuss about how we had the nuclear atom bomb, so we would do that. So every family can find something to connect, even if it's online. Calling, another thing which I would tell a lot of people who are feeling isolated and lonely, like I just saw a patient today who was saying that, oh, I'm feeling really alone because it's just me and my sister. And we spoke about her friends, and I told her that, do you think you can call one friend a day? Because that sets up the connection, and then you can have more and more interactions with people. And also there's a purpose that, okay, tomorrow I'm going to call up this friend. And when you're feeling negative, when you're feeling low, reaching out is very important, whether it is to a friend of yours, a family member. It could even be a helpline, because there are many helplines available. So maintaining that social connectedness is really necessary at this time. Another thing is altruism. So what is altruism? Altruism is when you do something without any gain, without expecting anything in return, which could be talking to someone who's lonely, helping the less fortunate. That can be done not necessarily only with money, starting some group or talking to people or spreading a message. All this comes only if we feel gratitude. And to feel gratitude and to feel grateful for what we have is a very important part of maintaining one's feeling good about oneself. So I read this really lovely thing about gratitude, where, you know, when you wake up in the morning, these are your 10 fingers. What you do is you just, for the 10 fingers, you have 10 different gratitudes which you talk about. So like, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful that I have a meal, I'm grateful that I'm going to call a friend, whatever. So every day, if you just do these 10 gratitudes, whichever are there, it really helps you to feel good about yourself. And of course, as I'm sure all of you know, that exercise is really important. I know a lot of us are not able to go out, but we can do low intensity workouts at home. You take a bottle of filled with water, 500 ml, and you can do a little bit of exercise. You can walk in the house. I mean, I do that. I hate going down because I just find it very hot and I can't wear a mask and walk. I walk in my room. I just do 8,000 steps almost every day. I try to in my room, even though it's just a very short walk, but a short distance, but I just go on walking. Yoga helps, meditation helps. Some of us can't do meditation. So we can do what is called mindfulness meditation. What is mindfulness meditation? Where you don't try to block everything from your mind. You let things come in and let things go. Another good way of mindfulness meditation is to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule, which is you think of 5 things, you look at 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can feel, 2 things that you can smell, 1 thing that you can taste. So when you go through this whole thing, it may not be meditation in the actual sense, but you are focusing on something which helps you to not think of other things. And of course, if you can't do that also, I think we can all breathe. We can all watch our breath. We can just take a few deep breaths and do that for around 5 minutes, morning, evening. So anything that helps to calm us down. So, and then of course, being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves some time to do things, our hobbies, to develop something. You know, there's so much that is available that we can do. There are these mandala books which you can order on Amazon, which you can paint, which just helps you to feel better about yourself. And the important things are, don't compare, because, you know, this is happening a lot, that somebody will be putting up these fantastic things. In fact, when I had done one workshop, one, very smart young woman, she's telling me that I feel really shit about myself because I see all my friends putting up pictures on Instagram of the cakes that they make, of the, lovely pastries that they make. And I feel, oh God, I'm only giving dal chawal to my family. So comparing doesn't help, because you may be doing she was doing a lot of other stuff. So she could not definitely spend time baking, or she didn't like baking, and it's okay. So comparing, competing, that is not being kind to yourself. And protecting yourself, which could be from media. If you feel that, you're comparing and competing too much, get off social media. If you feel that you are watching too much of television and getting anxious about whatever you are hearing over there, get off that. Protecting ourselves is really important. And to end this, I would just like to end with this really interesting quote, which I really still don't know who's written it. Somebody told me it was Winston Churchill. Somebody said, no, it was not him. But somebody said that never waste a good disaster. And I think that we all need to do that. This is a disaster, but let's not waste it in any way, and come out of this stronger and more able to be resilient in other situations. Thank you. Okay, if anyone has any questions.
Any questions? Everyone is quiet.
I think either I did a great job or everyone has gone to sleep. I don't know which one it is.
No, I don't think people have gone to sleep.
You did a great job.
Because the remarks are really good. People are really enjoying it.
Oh.
Yes.